I'm the childhood friend, and Charles is the new guy. There's this saying that something new always beats something old. Not long after Charles transferred to our school, someone spotted Jenny, my once rebellious childhood friend, acting like a meek kitten, confessing her mistakes in an empty stairwell. Later, I had a fight with Charles. Jenny just casually said, "I don't want to see Stephen at school." My parents, not wanting to offend the Johnsons, transferred me immediately. Since then, it's like I disappeared from her world. I didn't dare show my face around her. But then, on her birthday, she showed up at my door, drenched, looking both pitiful and troubled. "Did you forget it's my birthday today? They say the new always beats the old," and I used to laugh at that. But when I sat in the auditorium and saw Jenny looking at Charles playing the piano, eyes full of undisguised affection, I believed it. I also believed the rumors that Jenny, usually so fearless, would bend to Charles in that stairwell. The affection I never got to confess stayed hidden in my heart forever. When he finished playing, I clapped with everyone else for the shining boy on stage. Jenny got up, likely headed to find Charles, and I left the auditorium too. Outside, I held up a small gourd-shaped wooden carving hanging in the wind. "Stephen, here for you," I asked her, puzzled. "What is this?" 7-year-old Jenny once watched a soap opera with her aunt and remembered something called a love token. She gave it to me and said, "This means Stephen can only like me from now on. I'll always protect Stephen." Tears pricked my eyes. I took it down and held it in my hand, knowing that kids' words don't mean much, but they meant everything to me. Jenny, the fearless little tyrant, was the joy and secret of my whole youth. Charles transferred in this semester. He's good-looking and a special talent in piano, causing quite a stir from the start. The boys joked that Charles was like the main character from a school novel, clean-cut and admired by the school troublemaker. Many girls chased Charles, they even teased he only needed a Jenny. Jenny lazily stretched and shot a glance at the speaker. Is he even worthy? Back then, she was so cool. I didn't believe Jenny and Charles were together because I hadn't seen or heard it from her myself. But now I know. It's time for me to smarten up and keep my distance from Jenny. We used to walk home together, but at some point, Jenny found excuses not to go with me anymore. She could have just told me I wouldn't have pursued her relentlessly. After all, we were never really together. On Sundays, back at school, there's a paper collection for evening study. Jenny's always been a rebel. When the class monitor asked for her paper, she simply said, "Didn't do it." Before, Jenny listened to me. Everyone knew it. So they'd come complaining to me if she didn't do her homework. But now they couldn't even find her, because she would leave right after class to find Charles. "Stephen, Jenny didn't do her homework again, and no one knows where she went. Can you just turn it in to the teacher?" I said, shaking my head. "Don't tell me if she doesn't do her homework." At my words, they nodded, especially since the rumors about her having a boyfriend seemed true. My attitude confirmed it. After class, I focused on my exam paper. Before Charles showed up, I wanted Jenny to take the entrance exam for College P with me. Now I have to work hard to get into College P and chase my own dream. Jenny didn't come back for the whole evening study. The teacher asked where she was. Everyone looked at me, but I didn't lift my head. In the second period, Jenny finally returned. She sat quietly until someone told her the teacher wanted her in the office. When she walked by me, she paused for a moment. I didn't look up, wrestling with a tough math problem. I could usually solve the first part, but my brain would freeze on the second. After I figured it out, my desk mate leaned in, cautiously asking what was going on between Jenny and me. "Nothing really," I said. "Really? But you used to freak out if she didn't do her homework or skipped evening study." Staring at him, I replied, "That was then. From now on, I'm not going to worry about her." He was surprised, covering his mouth. "So, is it true that Charles is Jenny's boyfriend?" I kept silent, eyes downcast. After the second evening study bell, Jenny finally walked back to class. Later, I got a note saying, "You head out first after class." Seeing that, I calmly put it away and went back to my paper. After class, it got crowded and loud. As I packed up, the room suddenly fell silent. My desk mate gasped and I followed his gaze. Charles was standing at the door. He tilted his head towards Jenny, motioning her over, and then left. My eyes betrayed me, glancing at Jenny. She smiled helplessly and followed him out. The class erupted in chatter. Turned out it was true. I used to think Jenny and I made a good pair, a rule breaker with a good student. But now it seems like a perfect match between the rule breaker and the piano prodigy. Don't be a lapdog, someone said. But doesn't it seem a bit sad for Stephen? They grew up together since they were kids. Looks like childhood friends can't compete with new romances. My seatmate tries to comfort me with a tight-lipped smile. I sling my backpack over my shoulder. My heart feels like it's being torn apart, but I have to smile and can't let a tear fall. I can't let anyone see how heartbroken I am, or else by tomorrow, I'll be the talk of the school. I'm fine. Jenny and I have always been just friends. I'm heading out. See you tomorrow. He still looks a bit worried, but waves and says, see you tomorrow. Take care on your way home. As I walk away from the noisy campus, I grip my backpack straps tightly, clenching my teeth. But tears just won't stop. My heart feels so heavy and it hurts like hell. How did she suddenly start liking someone else? My vision blurs, but I can still hear that girl's almost arrogant voice ringing in my ears. I'm unstoppable. Stephen is someone I'll look after for life. Stephen, why didn't you wait for me this morning? This morning, Jenny was late. After class, she came over, looking a bit upset, and placed a bottle of milk on my desk. I paused momentarily from memorizing vocab, glancing sideways at the milk. I already had breakfast, and from now on, I won't be walking to school with you. I arrive early anyway. Jenny, sitting next to me, seems confused about what I'm up to. She props her head on her hand, watching me. I didn't annoy you recently, did I? We always used to walk together, right? Things are different now. I put down my pen, take a deep breath, smile, and tell her, you have a boyfriend now. We should keep our distance. She looks startled for a moment, then reacts he doesn't mind. He knows about us. I mind. I say to her, word by word, I don't want to be the reason for any problems in your relationship. Stephen. Jenny actually has a bad temper, not much patience, and talking like this with me has probably worn it thin. So now her face turns cold, and she suddenly stands up. The screeching sound of the chair against the floor cuts through the room. Whatever, she throws down, as I lower my head and silently close my eyes. Last night I sat on the balcony all night, lost in thought. It's time to stop being a fool, to continue hiding my feelings for her, staying by her side. Or maybe the bond we've had since childhood should end here. They say the eyes of someone in love can't hide their feelings. If I keep tailing her, it wouldn't be fair to me or Charles. No boyfriend would like his girlfriend having an overly close male friend. Since then, Jenny hasn't talked to me first. Even when we pass in the hallway, she just walks past. The guy following her around isn't me anymore. It's Charles. She introduced Charles to everyone in her circle. Charles is her first love, a guy she really likes. I focus quietly on my studies, listening to everyone else talking about their love story. Charles has stomach pains in the middle of the night from practicing piano. So the next day, she brings a specially prepared low-fat dinner from her family's nutritionist. A sports guy from the neighboring school seems to really like Charles and blocked him in an alley after school a few days ago. Word is Jenny beat him up pretty badly. This time I'm back to being the top student in my year. A teacher once told me to not worry about Jenny. It wouldn't do my studies any good. Jenny's family is wealthy, so grades aren't much of a concern for her. After school, I watch the grand sunset from the window. Stephen, which college are you thinking about? One hot afternoon, Jenny casually asks while sitting next to me. Without hesitation, I say, P University. That's far. I never told her that I wanted to go to P University not just because it's a top school, but because I want to get away from here, from home. Then I'll apply to P University too. Without me, you'd be a mess. That boastful girl in front of me was my light in those broken times, and I tried desperately to hold on to that light. So I was willing to waste all my time on her, even if I couldn't make it to P University. As long as we ended up at the same school, it'd be fine. Then rumors started spreading about Charles being a third wheel. After using the bathroom, my seatmate and I walked back only to see Charles with red eyes, crying as he rushed past us. Jenny, rushing over, grabbed me by the neck, practically wanting to kill me. Stephen, didn't you say you wanted to stay far away from me? What's this now? Her grip made it hard to breathe. My seatmate tried to push Jenny away quickly. Are you crazy? Stephen and I just got back from the bathroom. Let him go. He can't breathe. Jenny swiftly let go, and I gasped for air helplessly. Stephen, you disgust me. Stephen, are you okay? I squatted, coughing, tears falling uncontrollably. Mike held me and gently patted my back to comfort me. Stephen's all right. Jenny and her boyfriend must be having some weird moment. Wiping my tears, I tried hard not to sob aloud. The Jenny just now, looking at me like she wanted to kill me, was a stranger. The girl from my memories was gone. Completely gone. Later, classmates cautiously passed me their phones from under the table. It turned out someone anonymously posted on the school's open forum, accusing Charles of being a homewrecker in my relationship with Jenny. Many believed it, and the comments were full of nasty things about Charles. The marks on my neck had turned red, and I thought, once school ends tonight, I'll post a clarification on the forum right away. But before I could, I got home and found my parents sitting on the couch with stern faces, clearly waiting for me. I had a feeling something bad was about to happen, and then a glass was thrown at my feet, shattering on impact. What did you do at school to upset Jenny? Dad slammed the table, eyes almost popping out of his head. Do you realize our company's growth depends on our collaboration with the Johnsons? Are you trying to ruin me? I stood there, listening to Mom viciously calling me useless. Dad insisted I apologize to Jenny. The coldness of the villa made me shiver all over. I don't remember exactly how that showdown ended or how I ended up being forced to apologize to Jenny. I wanted to explain that the post wasn't mine and that I would clear things up. But when the door opened, she looked down at me with an icy, piercing gaze. I couldn't say a word. I just lowered my head, bent over, and apologized. She gave me a dismissive glance, leaning against the door frame. I don't want to see you at school again, Stephen. My parents nodded, groveling, promising not to let me appear before her again. I mechanically looked up at her, but the bright white light made it hard to see her expression or even her face. At that moment, my dignity was crushed into the dirt. That's when I realized Jenny and I never belonged to the same world. We were never equals. The moon doesn't descend just because people wish it to when it reflects in the well. It's just an illusion. Her kindness towards me before was nothing more than a fleeting whim of a young girl. I shouldn't have fantasized about it. From the start, it was a mistake. That night, I packed my things while my parents arranged for my transfer. 2 weeks after transferring, I rented a place close to school. Afraid Jenny would get mad if she saw me again, they decided it's best I didn't go back. Even though we're in the same city, seeing each other would take special effort. Stephen, come watch my game today. The girl speaking wore a black and white sports outfit, her fox-like eyes full of mirth. When I first arrived, a guy in class told me about her, Lucy, famous for being beautiful, wild, and cool. Classmates acted absorbed in their own things, though I noticed their glances. I lost track of how many times Lucy had approached me by now. They said she had never pursued anyone before, and now she's pursued me for quite a while. At this age, we all imagine a school love story happening to us or to those around us. They call Lucy a reformed wild girl. But even a reformed wild girl has a past. I shook my head gently. Can't, I have homework. She glanced at the workbook on the desk and raised an eyebrow. Stephen, did you know? I've been chasing you for 2 weeks. So? She chuckled lightly. So why do you keep rejecting me? By then, most of the class had left, and the sunset was casting its orange glow. I remembered a saying, the evening breeze is free, the sunset is free, and I am unique. Stephen, there's something contradictory about you, she said. The referee's whistle split the evening glow, and I looked at her. She smirked, a sense of death and some inexplicable intensity. So, I'm intrigued by you. I gave her a cold glance, reminding her, the game's starting. She found no interest and walked away with a TSK. After she was gone, I looked up at the silent clock on the wall. I had a hunch who posted that article on the wall. But what would he gain from it? Fourth high school is different from first. They cut the classroom power at a fixed time. So by 6:30, the power was out, leaving only the sunset's faint light. I packed my books, slung my backpack over my shoulder, and headed downstairs. The gentle evening breeze scattered the blossoms of the Chinese flowering crabapple tree. The petals fluttered away in the wind. I stood there, blinking, reflecting on my brief teenage years. Life felt as helpless as those flower petals. "Is that Stephen?" A voice snapped me back to reality just as I intended to move on. I was stopped by two familiar faces, looking surprised to see me here. I knew them from hanging around Jenny. We got along pretty well. They each held a bottle of water, probably fresh from the vending machine. "You really transferred here, Stephen?" I glanced at them, unsure of what they really implied, and just nodded. One of the short-haired girls nudged the other and said, "Stephen, you and Jenny grew up together. She's here too. Maybe you two can clear up the misunderstandings." Everyone else believes I wouldn't do such a thing, but Jenny, whom I grew up with, was convinced it was me. Before I could finish explaining, Jenny intervened from afar. "Does it take that long to buy water? Or are you going to keep talking to people who don't matter?" She stood at a distance, glaring at me like a stranger. Hearing her, the two girls awkwardly gave me a glance. I smiled softly. "I'll get going, see you." "Okay, goodbye." Life at the fourth high school was quiet. Time moved slowly. Occasionally, I overthought things, questioning why nobody loved me. I was excellent. My name was always on the honor roll. Dad used to say that kids with good grades are the ones everyone likes. But as I grew up, even though teachers liked smart kids, they weren't like my dad. I studied in silence, waiting for exams, waiting for the college entrance exams, no longer waiting for anyone. My grades soared, and I ranked first in the recent interschool exams. Standing on the podium, the warm summer wind lifted my hair and billowed my uniform. Below, students clad in their blue and white uniforms stared up with envy and admiration. The principal was at the mic, using all the big words to describe me without holding back. Outside, the vines on the trees kept climbing, the cicadas got louder, and the sunset grew redder. In the senior hallway, the sound of studying intensified. Everyone wished they could hit the pause button on time, slow it down as much as possible. I hadn't seen Jenny anymore, and it seemed like I'd lost touch with my old friends. Those friends were essentially Jenny's friends. After summer break, I didn't go back home because it was close to Jenny's. Ever since I started at fourth high, they mostly told me, "Don't let Jenny see you. If you run into her, go the other way." I'm 17 this year, and next semester, I'll be a senior. My parents hadn't thought about whether I'd be anxious about senior year. They didn't care much. People walked past me on the path, but nobody seemed to stop for anyone. This afternoon, I left the library, and my phone rang. When I answered, there was silence. I frowned, checking the unmarked number. Hesitantly, I said, "Hey, hello?" Still silence on the other end. Without hesitation, I hung up. "Stephen." Lucy came out of the gym, waving at me. She ran over and asked, "Want to grab some food?" I was holding my books, glanced at her, and the people behind her hurriedly urging each other to move faster. I told her, "I'm going to take food home. You and your friends go ahead. You keep eating takeout, that's so unhealthy. Let's go have a proper meal." With that, Lucy dragged me along. She brought me to a French restaurant where everyone wore formal suits and dresses, even the servers. Looking at us, with me in a loose white t-shirt and blue denim shorts and her in red and white workout gear, we stood out. I quickly stopped her. "Are you sure? We're gonna go in like this?" She blinked, confused. "It's just a place to eat, right?" Her straightforward comment suddenly made sense. Before I could decide, the server came over, looking at our outfits and smiling. "Is it a table for two?" "Yeah." Lucy nodded. "All right, please follow me." The server led us. He took us straight to a window seat and then asked us, "Would you like to enjoy the view outside?" Lucy nodded towards me. I checked the time, it was just after 6. Maybe there'd be a sunset. I nodded slightly. She smiled and said, "Sure." Then she pressed something, and warm yellow light suddenly streamed in through the tinted window. My mouth dropped open, a bit amazed at how magical it was. Realizing, I noticed the server was no longer beside us. She handed me the menu. What do you want to eat? The menu was pricey, and I hesitated. But Lucy smiled and asked, afraid you'll bankrupt me? Half her face was bathed in light. The golden glow hit her, and her eyes sparkled. Honestly, I admitted, it all looks kinda expensive. Don't worry, I can handle this. Order whatever you want. I handed the menu back. You decide. I'm not picky. She took it and teased, not bad, easy to feed. How do you like your steak? I don't like it too raw. She pondered, too well done isn't good either. How about we go medium well? Sure. Looking at her, I suddenly thought of Jenny again. I hadn't thought about her in a long while. But she too had a dimple when she smiled. She didn't smile often, mostly just a slight curve of the lips. I used to tap her dimple and tell her, smile more, you look pretty when you do. Then Charles came along, and she smiled a lot more, sometimes sweetly and endearingly. Thinking back, there's a universal truth. She just didn't like smiling at me. Our meal started during the peak of the sunset and ended when it was dark outside. After leaving the restaurant, the plaza was crowded. Stephen, I had a great time today. I looked up at her, and she looked down at me, smiling. Today's my birthday. What? I was shocked. It's your birthday? I should have treated you to dinner. Why didn't you tell me earlier? She feigned disappointment and sighed. I thought if I told you, you might not have eaten with me. No way, of course not. After a pause, I thought about buying her a birthday gift. Suddenly, warm breath brushed against my face as she leaned close, her voice raspy. Thinking of what to gift me? She dyed her hair bright blonde a few days ago and got a reprimand from the school for it. As the wind blew from all directions, her hair moved like a golden retriever's. I want that sachet you had last time. That time, she came to find me while I was packing. A sachet fell out of my bag. She picked it up, looked at it, and shook it, asking, can I have it, Stephen? I turned her down back then because it was meant as a birthday gift for Jenny. Even though it would never reach Jenny, giving it to Lucy didn't feel right. It felt like handing over something unwanted. I nodded heavily, agreeing, okay, but you have to wait a few days. I'll make you a new one. On the way back to her place, Lucy asked me for the first time, Stephen, where do you want to go to college? I looked up at the sparse stars in the sky. I'd love to go to P University. Why? Because I don't like it here. It doesn't snow here, and I want to see snow. Lucy bowed her head, thinking about who knows what, but just nodded. When we got to my place's entrance, she said, go on. Goodbye. I walked a few steps, then looked back. She stood there in the shadows, in her tracksuit, a faint smile on her lips, eyes dim. At that moment, my heart trembled, and I waved to her, Lucy, happy birthday. She heard and raised her hand, smiling as she waved back, Stephen, you'll definitely get into P University. I always thought there was plenty of time with Lucy, but I wanted to finish the sachet quickly and give it to her in person. I wasn't sure if she liked the scent of mugwort, so I bought some other dried flowers too. I kept thinking how Lucy would react when she saw it. When I got off the bus, I couldn't wait to rush over to the complex where Lucy lived. But when I got there, workers were moving stuff inside the place. I froze, and my heart just sank. I slowly walked over and softly asked the young woman standing there, hi, excuse me, do you know where the previous tenant went? Oh, she moved out, seems like a few days ago. All right. I nodded blankly and turned away. I sat on a bench, and it took me a while to process that Lucy had left. Why'd she leave without saying a word? Weren't we friends? My eyes got misty. The gift bag in my hand felt heavy, like it weighed a ton. Why is it that just when I get used to someone being around, they leave just like everyone else? I wiped my tears with a cold face, tossed the gift bag in the trash, and walked away. That night, it started pouring rain. I stared out the window, with Lucy's contact pulled up on my phone, but I couldn't bring myself to hit call. If I called and she answered, what would I even say? Ask her why she left without a word? To her, maybe I was just a fleeting crush, not worth saying much to. I suddenly realized I was being played. A joke even. falling over and over again, never learning. A knock on the door snapped me out of it. I opened it to find Jenny soaking wet and looking utterly miserable. "Did you forget it's my birthday today?" she asked with that sad look on her face. Hearing that, I wondered if the old Stephen would have forgiven her. I didn't know. I just knew in that moment. I pathetically realized I felt nothing for her anymore. And then I remembered a saying. When this person stood before me, I felt nothing, neither love nor hate. Her eyes were red from crying. "Stephen, today is my birthday. You said you'd be with me every birthday."
I'm exhausted.
"Happy birthday." "Okay. Stephen, are you still mad at me?" She suddenly grabbed my hand and slapped it across her face. I frowned as my hand started to sting from the impact. She tried to use my hand to hit the other side, and I gritted my teeth, pulling my hand away. "If you're gonna go crazy, do it at your own place. Not here," I said coldly. Jenny's fair skin had a deep red mark from the slap. I didn't care if she was hurt. I just feared the trouble it might bring me. Her mouth opened slightly, rain dripping down as she spoke with a bitter voice. "Stephen, I know I messed up. At that time, I didn't know why I acted that way. By the time I wanted to make it right, you had already transferred schools. I went to find you at your new school, but I saw a girl talking to you by the window. I got really mad. Those weren't the words I meant to say. Forget it." I sighed, a wave of helplessness washing over me. Jenny stared at me, eyes wide and expression pale. I chuckled softly. "With your skills, Jenny, it wouldn't be hard to find out who spread those rumors. You could have guessed who it was. We grew up together. You should have known I'm not the type to do something so low." Jenny hung her head in pain. "You didn't really believe it wasn't me. You just chose to believe it was me. Charles wanted everyone to know he was your boyfriend and wanted a clean break between us. His slander and antics, which you allowed, made that clear." I looked at her with indifference. "From the very start, you made your choice. So what now? Why come to me?" "I'm sorry, Stephen." She reached out, trying to hold on to me. I stepped back. "I made a mistake. I just don't know why I did what I did back then. After you left, I realized I couldn't be without you. I miss you so much. Every day you're not around, I'm thinking of you. I went to your school, waited for you outside, but I couldn't see you anywhere." Tears streamed down Jenny's face as she continued to apologize. I lowered my head, closing my eyes. The girl who walked with me through so many stages of life was now unrecognizable. The Jenny I knew wouldn't have treated me like this. She was no longer the girl who'd cover me with her coat in the rain, telling me she was there for me. That girl was lost to time, gone and unreachable. "Jenny," Charles called out from a distance, his voice breaking, but she didn't even turn around. Suddenly, he burst into tears, pleading with me. "Stephen, Jenny's all I have. Don't take her away from me. Okay? Please." His fingers were long from playing piano, and his face was pale and clean. Even when crying, he looked pitiable. "Shut up," Jenny snarled. "I told you we're over. Go. What did I do wrong? Just tell me, please. I really like you. I don't want us to end." I didn't want to watch this love triangle drama unfold. I shut the door, not wanting to know, and definitely not wanting to get involved. September came, and I'm now a senior. My homeroom teacher was right. Nothing's more important than the college entrance exams now. I'm focused on getting into Peking University. Later, Mike sent me some gossip about Jenny and Charles. Apparently, Charles's piano competition wins weren't legitimate, and he even bribed judges for his art exams. Every student who went through art exams put in so much effort, cried countless times, yet kept training. They were drenched in sweat but pushed on. Seeing things like this, anyone would be angry. There are just too many people fighting for too little. In the end, it got posted online, and Charles gained a bit of internet fame because of his pretty face. As things snowballed, his achievements were stripped, and you could say he lost everything. With nothing left, he kept clinging to Jenny. Jenny was overwhelmed by the chaos, so her parents transferred her to another school to get away from Charles. The gossip online went from shipping them hard to expressing regrets over the whole thing. I saw it as a joke and just focused on my studies. The countdown on the wall seemed to get thinner with each tear. Each classmate wished they could stretch time. as there were topics still unfamiliar and things yet to memorize, with next month's exams looming. Often, I stood on the 10th floor corridor, seeing Jenny standing silently outside the school, leaving quietly after a while. As the loud buzz of cicadas started to fade and disappear, the college entrance exams arrived in June. It rained heavily that day, and I remember the math exam being really tough. By the 5th multiple-choice question, my heart sank. My palms and forehead were sweating profusely. Leaving the test hall, I felt defeated. The staircase was filled with complaints about the hard math test. Many students broke down, crying, "The math was too hard. I'm doomed." But time doesn't stop for complaints, and exams won't suddenly become easier. The last subject was biology. I carefully checked my answers to make sure nothing was missed, capped my pen and looked at the green outside, as the classroom was silent. With a prompt marking the final 5 minutes, my high school days and my youth were about to end. I left the exam hall and the school building, looked back at the school I attended for just a year and a half, feeling a lot of emotions. I waved goodbye to my teenage years with a smile. Nobody stays 18 forever, but there will always be someone who is 18. After the exams, I didn't go back home instead. I went with Mike to Q City to get a summer job. There, I got phone calls every few days, which I just ignored. The lost aren't lost because a hand wasn't held, but because they're blinded by a lure. Results day came and my results were blocked. When I received the text from the provincial education department, I couldn't hold back my tears. I was the provincial top scorer with 713 points, validating the 3 years of hard work and every step I took. Suddenly, those parents sought me out, basking in the media's glow, bragging about how they raised such a top student. Mike, infuriated, said, "They've got no shame. Did they ever care for you?" I simply looked off into the distance. When the media found me, I kept a faint smile while revealing that I had a cheating mom, a biased dad, and a broken home, and that I was determined and resilient. In today's fast-spreading internet era, my interview garnered both sympathy and respect for my strong heart. I decided to change my SIM card, relying on the full scholarship and various awards, which was more than enough for 4 years of college expenses. The day after classes started, the military training ceremony was held, and my dorm mates and I rushed to the field. There were so many people and we couldn't find our class spot, leaving me scratching my head in a daze. Suddenly, I heard a clear, familiar female voice behind me. "Hey, fellow student." I froze for a moment. When I turned around, I saw a familiar face from my memories. Standing against the light, she slightly lowered her head and said, "Long time no see." After the break, I dragged my dorm mates to the cafeteria. That evening, Lucy stopped me in the dorm building and asked my dorm mates if she could borrow me for a second. I didn't want to deal with her and tried to follow them upstairs. She grabbed my hand. "Even if it's a death sentence, I deserve a chance to explain, right?" While maintaining a stern face, I stepped aside. "I'm sorry for leaving without saying goodbye," she softly explained. "My family is actually in P City. After a huge fallout with them, I moved to study in M City. The reason I left in a hurry was because my grandma fell seriously ill. She was the only one good to me. It might sound a bit dramatic, but after returning to P City, my phone got stolen. I was busy taking care of her, and by the time I got a new SIM, you had blocked me. I later returned to M City, but by then, it was senior year. I was afraid I'd disturb you, so I stayed away. I haven't lied to you, I swear. Every word is true." As the guys from the dorm returned and saw a girl talking to me, they couldn't help but glance over, but quickly looked away when I caught their eyes. I stared at the shadow on the ground, filled with mixed emotions. Finally, I just nodded. "Okay, I get it." I wasn't sure how I should feel. Angry? Seemed too late for that. Happy? Not really. I just wanted to escape. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. The moment I was about to leave, Lucy suddenly hugged me, her voice muffled. "I like you, Steven. It's not like some wild girl return scenario. I'm not like that. I've never had a boyfriend. A guy tried to pursue me for a long time, but I didn't agree. The rumors about me changing boyfriends like clothes were all lies he made up." The heat from her hand on my waist was burning up, and in a daze, I heard her say, "Will you be my boyfriend?" That day, I didn't answer. I just ran away. After our military training ended, Lucy was in the computer science department on the East Campus, and I was in the law department on the West Campus. She's good looking. Since the semester started, her face has been all over the bulletin board. Later on, someone couldn't resist posting on the board, "To everyone who's confessed to Lucy from computer science, stop posting. See? I'm from the law department too, and I take a class with her boyfriend. They're always together, super sweet. Just drop it, okay?" The picture showed me sitting by the window with a straight face, while Lucy looked like she'd done something wrong, nervously watching me. It was really just me telling her not to accompany me to class anymore. Jenny had also applied to a school here in P-City, but her scores weren't enough. On Christmas Day, I got to the gate and realized I left my phone in the dorm. After grabbing it, I saw Jenny at the gate. When she saw me, her eyes lit up. "Steven, I finally found you." Seeing it was her, I frowned and tried to walk away. She was wearing the down jacket and scarf I gave her back then, still unwilling to give up. "Steven, it's Christmas. Let's have dinner together. Isn't it common courtesy to ask someone's girlfriend when you're inviting their boyfriend to dinner?" Lucy walked over looking annoyed, standing between me and Jenny. Jenny clenched her fists tightly, her face pale. "Steven, is what she said true?" It was true. "I have a girlfriend now. Stop coming to find me." She shook her head, looking obsessed, then turned to me, her eyes red. "How could you have a girlfriend? You said you'd marry me when we were kids." "I lost you, Steven." Lucy coldly walked over and grabbed her collar. "Yeah, thanks for your lack of insight. Now stay away." Jenny seemed to go limp as Lucy tossed her to the ground. Then Lucy pulled me along, walking past her. "Steven, I'm sorry. The Sterling family business always depended on the Johnsons." Not long after Jenny went back, her parents came to find me in P-City. They wanted me to be with Jenny. Couldn't believe it. What kind of parents could say something so heartless? With tears in my eyes, I yelled at them. "If you didn't love me, why did you bring me into this world?" My dad poked my head, screaming, "If that quack hadn't said you'd bring luck to the family, do you think you'd be here?" Suddenly, my ears rang, and I kept backing away. They were like beasts, ready to tear me apart. That's when Lucy rushed over, covering my ears. "Don't listen to their nonsense." In the end, the Sterling family went bankrupt. Jenny waited for me to beg her, but that's the last thing I wanted. She didn't know I sent her a bigger gift. Charles had been looking for Jenny for years. That day, Jenny told me her hotel room number, and I passed it to Charles. Let those once-in-love lovers rekindle their past. Charles had a devoted admirer who funded him over the years. Later, that woman found Jenny and stabbed her, leaving her with severe injuries and a damaged spleen. Charles ended up a vegetative state after being attacked by the admirer. It was all over the local and online news. I said I'd move toward a bright future while they stayed stuck in the mud. "Steven, didn't you promise to make me a sachet? It's been so long." Lucy kept pestering me for a sachet. After that incident, I didn't want to make one, yet she kept asking. This time, I reluctantly took out a charm-shaped sachet from my bag and handed it to her. "Here." Lucy was as happy as a child with candy once she got the sachet. Years later, I wrote my final words in my book. My wife, her presence, was my life's salvation. Lucy's epilogue. I once read a line in a book. Calling someone's full name is like whispering a love note. But Steven didn't seem to get it, and that's okay. One day, I stumbled upon a dropped sachet of his and realized, a sachet is meant for a loved one. I wanted one, but he never gave me one. Eventually, he agreed to embroider one for me. Boy, was I overjoyed. But it's like the universe played a joke on me, and I missed it again. At least, when I look at him sleeping soundly beside me, I can't help but steal a kiss. This time, I didn't miss out.